We came to run up a bag today. Yes, we came to run up a bag today. Yo, what is going on YouTube? It is Karma Speaks, back with another video. I just came across this video. It's kind of late right now. It's 12 o'clock. It's actually more like 1 o'clock because we had daylight savings yesterday, but it's pretty late. But I came across this gentleman's video and I just knew I had to react to it. I've actually reacted to one of his other videos before. If you want to go check that out, maybe I'll link it down below. But his videos are phenomenal, and I want to just kind of spark this conversation in our comment section and just see what exactly we could discuss as a community together. But let's get into it.
I'm going to be honest with you guys, man. The only real shot that any of us have to thrive, I might even say survive, but thriving especially, the only shot you're going to have at even attempting to financially thrive is to just completely cut out the rugged individualism. You're going to have to be completely comfortable with family living together and or friends living together. The only chance most of us have to get ahead today is to band together with as many people as possible to cut costs on everything. That's the only shot you have, because most cities, most big cities, a single income is just not going to do it. Two incomes barely do it. Two good incomes barely do it.
What have I been saying? I've been saying group economics. I've been saying group economics for the longest period of time. This is the way that these foreign cultures run up this bag and get rich. They don't do things alone. Every venture has another party attached to it, right? I'll give an example, a prime example. I had this client who, I'll just say he was in a very good field, right? Family business. I'll just say he was a jeweler, right? And obviously a lot of the jewelers here in New York happen to be Jewish people. And part of what he got into was real estate. He got into fix and flips. And so I kind of asked him, hey, like, how are you funding these deals? Like, is it from your jewelry business? Cause like, do you have like a bag like that to where you're able to do 20 flips a year? You got to be doing multiple flips at a time. So I'm asking him all these questions and I'm like, yo, like, how are you funding these deals? Like, are you taking out debt for it or whatever? And basically he told me straight up, no, I have people that I tap into. I got resources and stuff, which basically just means I have family money or I have the Jewish community money. And there's a saying out there where it's like, if one Jew makes money, 10 others make money, right? It's not selfish. They don't have a selfish community, right? They think that they're God's chosen people or whatever. But outside of that, it's like they are so in tune with each other that if one person eats, the next person eats. Everybody eats in that community. Same thing goes for Indian demographic of people. A lot of them here in New York, they're buying the $1.5–2 million properties here on Long Island, where it's like everybody else is priced out, but because they're pooling their money together, you got 2 doctors, a lawyer, this and that, and they're all still living in the same crib together. They don't have this shame where it's like, you got to be out by 18 or you got to be out by 21 or after college, you get 1 year or this and that. Like, that's the biggest sabotage of our generation and the generation prior, and just the American culture as a whole, is that we think that we have to do everything alone. If I had the opportunity to band together with somebody and make a play, I 100% would. And the only reason why I can't right now is because I don't have anybody that I trust and I don't have anybody with a bag. I can't be the only one bringing a bag to something. If I say I want to make a play and invest in some real estate or whatever, I have nobody I can go to, not a friend, not a family member, nobody that I could say, hey, do you want to do a joint venture with me? And if I go and ask an investor or whatever it is, I don't know them. I don't trust them. What if I ask for a payout to pay out this contract or whatever, and they're like, no, I'm not going to give you 30 G's to pay the contractor after they did the work. Now I got litigation issues and this and that. Like that, these are real things that happen and things that you have to kind of rationalize in your head. But I've been saying group economics. It's how we get ahead. We got to follow suit where these other cultures are doing this like it's nothing. It's standard practice. It's standard. The world is so expensive. It's standard practice for them. And they're purchasing all the assets and you're sitting on your hands over and over again. But I'm gonna let him continue.
I got a couple of friends right now that are making ridiculous money, like ridiculous money. But at the end of the month, it's all gone. Same as a guy on the street. And they don't even live in super fancy places. I have a lot of friends that are from like Latin America and even like Somalia and stuff. And all of them are doing way, way better than the rest of the people I know. And it's because they, well, I'll tell you, two reasons. For one, they have no problem banding together with friends and family. They find a way to make that work. They band together and they just cut costs to like a record-breaking level, to like a record-breaking low. But also, and I love you guys, some of you are going to see this video, most of you that I know are also, draining the assistance programs, I'm going to be honest. So it's kind of not a fair analogy. I mean, I got some friends from Somalia, and they got 4 grown men living in one place. All 4 of them are getting crazy amounts of EBT or like SNAP benefits. They're bringing so much free food into that household, it's not even funny. And one of them's getting like free housing and stuff, and the other 3 just live there. So they're all literally living for free and getting like hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month in food stamps coming in together. And out of the 4 guys, I only am friends with 2 of them, but 2 of them, one of them has a brand new Honda, no problem paying for it. One of them has a really nice, damn near brand new Range Rover, no problem paying for it. One of them has a not brand new, but pretty new Mercedes and a pretty new Beamer, the other one. And they pay for them, no problem. But it's because they've either respectfully or kind of scamming, but one way or another, they've gotten the cost down so much by banding together and scamming the system. But that's what you guys got to think about. That's what you guys are going to have to do. You're going to have to get as many people together as possible and just get your bills down to nothing, because no matter how much you make today.
Okay, a couple things. Again, group economics. And 2, the system was made to be rigged. The system was made to be scammed on. I promise you. I promise you, a lot of us, we come into the world, or a lot of young dudes, or I guess just people in general, we come into the world or we come into adulthood with this, idea that, we should be above all and be extra righteous and whatnot, which I feel the same way. I feel the same exact way. But what I've realized when it comes to building wealth and what I've seen is that most of the wealthiest people finesse the system in some shape, form, or fashion. And whether it's moral or immoral, it depends on who you ask. If I say I met a wealthy person who went to a state with very strict discretion laws or privacy laws, right? Like Wisconsin, and they opened up a trust and they threw an LLC out there in that trust, and they have an LLC out here that's owned by the LLC, that's owned by the trust, and they have properties and doing all this stuff, and they're depreciating assets, and they're basically making no money on paper. They're losing money every single year and rolling it over into the next year every single year, and basically making no money while making millions of dollars. And on top of that, they have their spouse who they're not legally married to that's taking government assistance, right, on behalf of their family, like the kids that they might have and possibly him too, or whatever. And not only that, he can take one of his properties that he owns or that his trust owns and put his wife in that unit. So he's not only collecting money from the government, but he's also living rent-free in his own crib. Doesn't have to house hack, doesn't have to, have a tenant in it. The tenant is himself. or the tenant is his spouse, his wife, that he's not legally married to, that seems to be a single mother in the eyes of the government, right? And if I tell you that, some will be like, that's immoral. And then some will be like, the system is there to be finessed. For me personally, within a certain, realm of ethics, I think the system is there to be finessed, because so many wealthy people take advantage and do all these hacks and tricks, like depreciation and, just things that a normal 9-to-5 wagey can't do. Do I sit there and think, oh, you're evil for it? No. I think you're putting in more work than what a 9-to-5 person is doing. I just view it as you're putting in more work. You're putting in more effort to keep more of your money. And can I blame you for that? Hell no, I cannot. If I blame you for that, I'm just ignorant. Truth be told. So when this gentleman is talking about, his Somali friends or whatever that are taking advantage of the system is effed up. The system is all types of effed up. And I know that Trump is trying to, reconcile and make things a little bit stricter or whatever like that. But with Biden economics, anybody could get any type of assistance. If that's the case, take the assistance. There's no moral high ground. Like when the system is set up like that, where it's like, hey, there's an opportunity for you to run up a bag with assistance, run up the bag. Don't sit there on some moral high ground and then get on the internet and complain, like I've seen on TikTok and like we've talked about before, where it's like, oh, people, this and that. Like, the system was effed up. If there's an opportunity, take it. If you feel as though it goes against your moral conscience, then that is fine. I feel like I try to be as righteous and as, good and as honorable as I possibly can. And I'm not saying that I do anything like, dishonorable. But what I am saying is my viewpoint of it is that the entire system is to be played with. It's a complete joke. It's a complete joke, because the people that are actually able to take advantage of it are two people: the poorest of the poor and the richest of the rich. The poor people take advantage of the assistance, and the rich people take advantage of all the tax write-offs and benefits and this and that. And then in certain cases, they take advantage of the assistance too, if they really know how to finesse the system. So you tell me, does it make sense for you middle class wages to get upset? No, the only thing you should be upset at is yourself, because you don't know how to finesse the system like everybody else is doing it. Everybody else is doing it. Everybody. Especially being in New York, I see it all on a day-to-day basis. There's not a finesse that the most common one, the most plain in sight one, is when you see a real estate investor run up a crazy bag, flipping a property, and they refinance it, take the equity out, and then sell the property and pay no taxes. Your ass is going to sit there, sell your home, and then pay like 20% capital gains tax. And you're going to say that the system is rigged, when in fact the rules were laid out in front of you, or the hacks were laid out in front of you. You just didn't want to put in the work to actually take advantage of it. And I honestly blame you for that. I wouldn't blame anybody else. Let's see what else he's talking about.
It's just the bills. It's bills. It's the rent. It's the gas. I mean, my state, this state alone is just crazy. I don't care who's in office. My state will always be a ripoff. That's why I laugh when people here talk about like politics. And I'm like, orange man bad. Like, pff. That's the least of my concerns. And I said the same thing with the last president, so I'm not even being biased when I say that. My state is run horribly. My state is a joke. At one point, we're probably still the most expensive gas. Cost of living is crazy. Especially when you consider, the chaos in your neighborhood. But I digress. That's not really what this video is about. It's just driving home the point that everybody's ego and pride has got to go. Like, it's got to go. The only chance we're going to have, and it's a grim one, is just cutting ties with the rugged individualism. Ego has to go. Like, now when I see a young man in like a badass car, I think, what a dummy. I laugh. I go, what a dumbass. What are you doing, dude? What are you doing? Working your ass off to spend every penny on some car to hopefully make people envy you, or hopefully make these trashy women that aren't worth, that are not worth committing to like you. What are you doing? What are you doing? Hello, McFly. Anybody home? Now I see a guy in like a modest car and I go, oh man, he's smart. He's smart. That's your only shot, you guys. Like, you're going to have to just...
I don't know where this guy is from. He definitely looks like a West Coast guy with the backwards hat and everything. So I'm just going to assume he's in California. So definitely his state is expensive. Same here in New York. And just like he said with the kid in the car analogy, right? Because I tend to, I wouldn't say I fall into it, but I do get tempted a lot, right? As a 22-year-old who's making pretty good money, and I've saved a lot of money, and I've saved $70K this year so far. So it's like, I get it, right? You get a little bit of motion. You want to get the nice car. You want to showboat. You want to show out. You want to make your girl feel good because she's like, oh, my boy, my man's got like a nice car and whatever. And like, she wants to get dropped off at this place so that her friends see that, you know, you got motion or whatever and this and that. And I've been drawn towards that in many instances in my life. But one thing that's definitely helped is giving myself time to just think it over, right? I give myself, like, for example, a couple months ago, I was really looking at getting a motorcycle because I'm just like, I've always been into motorcycles and dirt bikes and everything like that. And my parents, they were just deathly afraid. And I'm like, look, I'm 22 years old. I got, you know, my little bitty motion. I could kind of do whatever I want. And I went to the dealership a couple times. I went to the motorcycle dealership three different times. And I sat on bikes and I picked out the one that I liked. I was like, okay, this one is 10 G's. I'm gonna get this one, right? And I was ready to go. And then I sat there for a couple days because I was like, let me just make sure this is what I want. I sat there for a couple days. And I was like, nah, right? Not because the safety aspect, because that was a consideration. It definitely did play a part because I'm like, okay, how can I enjoy being rich if I'm dead, right? That was just something that I thought about. But it was the fact that I just didn't give a fuck. I didn't give a fuck. Anytime I look at, you know, cars online and I'm like, look, yeah, like once I have this amount, I'm going to get a nice car or whatever. I just look back at it and I'm just like, I actually don't give a fuck. And part of my tongue for, you know, saying it like this, but like, this is just how I speak to myself. You know, I realized that the car that I have now, which is a 2025 Mazda, the car that I have now, that thing goes 120 miles an hour. How much fucking faster do I have to go? I don't need to go faster. Who am I trying to look good for? I don't need to look better. I'm already handsome. Who do I need a extra fancy car for? I mean, it will be cool because it will be something that I enjoy. But I realize that if I really want to enjoy a car, I'd rather build something cheap, a 350Z. I'd rather build a $6,000 350Z than get a $100,000 Aston Martin, right? Because that's the car that I want, either that or a C8. But I realize it's just like, I really just don't give a fuck. Like, what else is there? All I care about are the people that are important to me, running up this bag and making sure I'm alive. And cars and motorcycles don't coincide with running up the bag and making sure I'm alive, right? It'll put a smile on my face, but I could put a smile on my face with many other things. Many things that aren't as expensive and aren't as dangerous, right? That's just me personally. But when I see that person, that kid, and I say kid, but my peers, when they get like a nice expensive car, I'm like, damn, you're spending all your money on that. Especially here in New York, because car insurance here is ridiculous. I pay almost $500 for a Mazda. I wouldn't even imagine how much they pay for a BMW, an M4 Comp, right? You spend $1,200 for the car payment, and now you're spending another $1,200 to just insure the vehicle, if not more. That's just me though. But like, yeah, I see that person that's spending the money on the fancy clothes and, you know, the cars and this and that. And I'm like, all your money, everything that you have to your name goes into these items, these things. Like, what does a thing do for you? Like, what does a thing do for you? There aren't many things that I own that I am just like, what does this do for me? Unless it helps me run up a bag. I got, you know, I got things like lights and stuff like that that help me generate revenue. That's a thing. Like, I'll invest in that and get things of that sort so that I can run up this bag. You know, a camera to film some YouTube videos or whatever, a new phone. That's fine. But things that I got a payment on, things that endanger me, things like that, like, what does that do for me? What does that do for me? Same sentiment when it comes to trips. I'm not gonna lie. I don't care for trips, you know? I just don't care. And I do question why my generation cares so deeply and why they're so emotional. But they do for some reason. They do care and they are so emotional. And they want to be vain and they want to show off. And they want to have a boyfriend that shows off and they want to have a girlfriend that shows off. But then also, like, you know, once they get together with the girl, they don't want them to show off. We're just such a selfish generation. You feel me? I'm selfish too. Hella selfish. I don't care though. I don't care. And in this economy, you have to stay with your parents as long as you possibly can. As long as you possibly can. I'm 22 years old. I'm making over 6 figures a year. And I'm going to stay as long as I possibly can. If my situation here doesn't work out, I'm going with my dad. He's probably watching this video. I ain't going to be eager to try to get my own spot. I'm going with my dad. And I'm going to keep not paying rent or paying a minimal amount. And I'm going to keep running up this bag. You think I'd be able to save $70,000 in 10 months if I was trying to be all independent? No, I'm running up a bag. We got to be smart, be strategic. And I'll lay down the foundation on how I did it. I have a whole entire blueprint on how I just saved money and stacked money and did this and that. I have a whole funnel system from the moment the money touches my account to the moment it's in my brokerage or savings account. I have a whole system on how to pay bills, on how to do this and that, everything. $70K in 10 months as a 22-year-old. Run up the bag and stop being so egotistical. Appreciate anybody that watched this. Peace.